Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle something kind of huge, the world of industries.
Yeah, we don't always think about the systems that make our lives run, but when we look closer, it's really
It
fascinating.
really is. I mean,
Yeah,
just think about like a simple notebook,
right.
right?
Right.
It starts as a tree, but then it goes through this whole chain of processes, decisions to end up, in our hands.
It's amazing when you think about it. We always focus on the product itself, and we rarely think about all the network of activities that go behind the making of that product.
Exactly. So before we get lost in the specifics, I think maybe we should start with a very basic question.
Okay.
What is an industry?
Okay, so an industry is basically a group of businesses that focus on producing a similar kind of product or service.
Okay.
And they're really the engine of our economies, driving production, resource extraction, and pretty much every service that you can think of.
So industries are important.
Yeah, they really shape not just what we consume, but where we live, the jobs we have, even, global politics.
Wow. Okay. So now I'm thinking about industries,
hmm
and I'm thinking, okay, food industry, tech industry. Like, is it that simple, or is there more to it?
You're right. I mean, it is more nuanced than that. Um, One way to classify industries is by the raw materials that they use.
Okay.
For instance, we have agro-based industries which rely on agricultural products. So think food processing, textiles, even rubber production.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for those tires on your car, right? Then there are mineral-based industries that extract and process minerals to create everything from steel for buildings to silicon for computer
It's like a
chips.
chain reaction.
Yeah.
Like one industry is providing the essential building blocks for another.
Exactly. And we cannot forget marine-based industries, which, they use resources from the ocean, fishing, seafood processing, even seaweed farming for food and cosmetics. And then there are forest-based industries using timber for, construction, paper, furniture, and even pharmaceuticals. So
Oh,
even that notebook you mentioned,
right.
that's connected to the forest-based industry.
Wow. There's so much to think about. So just to recap for a second. So industries are groups of businesses that produce similar products or services, and we can classify them based on the raw materials that they use. Is that right?
Absolutely. And keep in mind, this is just one way to categorize industries.
Okay. Okay, good to know. So let's talk about location.
Okay.
So it's just random chance that like some areas become these like industrial hubs, or is there a strategy behind it?
Oh no, it's definitely not random. Industries don't just pop up, anywhere. There are several factors that influence their location.
So what are those factors?
I think of it as a recipe for industrial success.
Okay.
And like any good recipe, you need the right ingredients.
Okay, so what are the ingredients? What are we talking about?
So first you need raw materials. Industries need to have access to the resources they depend on, whether it's timber, minerals, or agricultural products.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to ship iron ore all the way across the world if you don't have to.
Exactly, exactly. And next, you need land, space for factories, warehouses, all the infrastructure.
Right, they've got to be somewhere.
Exactly. Then there's water. Many industries, especially manufacturing and energy production, they need vast amounts of water for their processes.
Yeah, water's essential for pretty much everything.
It is. And of course, you need people. So labor, readily available workforce with the necessary skills is essential for any industry to thrive.
Yeah.
And then to power all these operations, you need a reliable source of power,
Oh.
whether it's electricity, gas, or other energy sources.
Okay, so we've got raw materials, land, water, labor, power. I mean, that's already a pretty long list.
We're not done yet. We also need capital. Financial resources are crucial for industries to invest in equipment, research, and expansion. And then there's transportation. Efficient ways to move raw materials in and finish products out. And finally, maybe most importantly, you need access to markets where those products can be sold.
Right, so it's not just about having the resources, it's about connecting those resources to the people who need them.
Yeah, exactly. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. Governments can actually influence this whole recipe
Okay.
through policies and incentives.
Interesting.
They can offer, tax breaks, subsidies, or even build infrastructure to attract industries to specific areas.
So it's not just about the most logical location. There's a political element at play too.
Absolutely. Governments might might incentivize development in underdeveloped regions to boost their economies, and sometimes even leading to the rise of entirely new cities around industrial centers.
So industries aren't just economic forces, they're practically city planners. So to summarize, the location of an industry really depends on a mix of resources, infrastructure, access to markets, and sometimes a little nudge from the government.
You got it.
Okay. Now we know where industries are, where they settle. How about how they function? Like, it's one thing to have all the ingredients, but you got to know how to bake the cake, so to speak.
That's a great point. So think of each industry as having its own unique system.
Okay.
With inputs, processes, and outputs.
Okay, so the inputs are all the things that we just talked about. The raw materials, the labor, the capital, the infrastructure, the power sources.
Yes, you got it, right.
Okay.
And then come the processes.
Yeah.
Which involve transforming those raw materials into something usable. This could be anything from simple assembly to complex chemical reactions, depending on the industry.
So it's like this giant machine, right, with all these interconnected parts working together to create something new.
Yeah.
Can you give me like a specific example?
Yeah, let's take the textile industry, for instance.
Okay.
The input would be raw cotton, along with, all the labor, machinery, and energy needed for production. Then come the processes, spinning the cotton into yarn, weaving the yarn into fabric, dyeing and printing the fabric, and finally, sewing the fabric into clothes.
Wow. It's amazing how many steps go into creating something as simple as a T-shirt.
Yeah, it is.
So the output is obviously the clothing that we wear.
Yeah.
But it's also the income, right?
Yes.
Generated from selling those clothes. So it's this whole cycle, right? From raw materials to finished products and the economic benefit.
Exactly.
So that's what you mean when you say an industrial system.
Exactly. Each industry has its own unique system, but
Yeah.
the basic principle is the same, transforming inputs into valuable outputs.
This is fascinating. So we've learned so far what industries are, how they're categorized, the factors that determine their location, and we've even got like a little peek into how they function as systems with inputs, processes, and outputs. Is there anything else we should know about this, before we move on?
Yeah, I think there's one more concept that's key to understanding the industrial landscape.
Okay.
And that's industrial regions.
Okay.
These are areas where multiple industries cluster together, creating this network of interconnected activity.
Right, because if industries rely on each other for like materials and services, it would make sense for them to be close together.
Exactly. There are several advantages to clustering. Industries can share resources like transportation networks and specialized labor pools, leading to reduced costs and increased efficiency.
So it's like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Where industries benefit from being in close proximity to each other.
Precisely. Think of, Detroit's automobile industry, Silicon Valley's tech hub, or even Hollywood's film industry.
Right.
These clusters didn't form by accident. There's a strategic advantage to having related industries concentrated in a single region.
It's amazing. Like we rarely think about this complex web of connections behind the products and services that we use every single day.
Yeah, it's a whole other world, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Well, now I'm hooked. I want to keep going. I want to dive deeper into this world. But before we do, I think maybe a quick recap
Okay.
of what we've learned so far is a good idea. So we've defined what an industry is, how they're categorized by raw materials, and the factors that influence their location. We also explored how industries function as systems and the concept of industrial regions. Is there anything that we've missed?
I think you've covered it, brilliantly.
Okay, good. So are we ready to delve into some specific industries?
I think so, yeah.
All right, let's do it. So where do you want to start?
Let's start with looking at some of the global giants that shape our world. Iron and steel, textiles, and information technology.
Okay, those are some big ones. I'm especially curious about iron and steel.
Okay.
It's everywhere in our lives, but I don't think I really know much about where it comes from, how it's made.
It's a fascinating journey, from raw ore to the steel that that builds our world, and we can trace that journey, explore the factors that have shaped the global steel industry. And we can even look at the stories of two cities that are built on steel, Jamshedpur in India and Pittsburgh in the United States.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I'm ready to dive into that. Let's get our steel on.
All right, let's do it. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Now, where were we? Yes, iron and steel, the backbone of modern industry.
Yeah, I'm still amazed by how much this single industry impacts our lives. I mean, what are some of the key things we should know about iron and steel?
Well, it all starts with iron ore,
Okay.
which is a rock that contains iron. And this iron ore, it needs to be transformed into usable steel. And this transformation happens in a steel mill through a series of pretty fascinating processes.
Okay, so walk me through it. What actually happens inside a steel mill?
Well, the first crucial step is smelting. So iron ore, coke, and limestone are fed into a blast furnace. And the blast furnace heats everything to extremely high temperatures. And this intense heat separates the iron from impurities, and that creates what's called pig iron.
Oh, we talked about smelting a little bit earlier.
Uh-huh.
And I can picture those like giant blast furnaces,
Yeah.
glowing red hot as they churn out molten iron.
It's an incredible sight. Now, pig iron still contains some impurities, so it undergoes another process called refining.
Okay.
And this involves further processing to remove those impurities and to adjust the iron's chemical composition to create different types of steel.
So different types of steel for different purposes.
Exactly. The properties of steel can be finely tuned depending on its intended use. For instance, the steel used in construction, that needs to be incredibly strong and durable, whereas the steel used in cars, that needs to be lightweight yet impact resistant.
So there's a whole science behind creating the right steel for the right application.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else that we should know about the process?
Well, the journey from iron ore to finished steel involves several other stages, including casting, rolling, and heat treating. And each stage further refines the steel and gives it the specific properties that are needed for its final application.
Wow, so it's a multi-step process that requires a lot of expertise and precision?
Absolutely, and it's this complex process that transforms a simple rock into one of the most versatile and essential materials in our world.
It's incredible to think that this one material is used in practically every aspect of our lives, from the buildings we live and work in to the cars we drive, even the appliances in our homes.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of its impact on our lives, maybe we can shift gears a little bit and explore how the location of steel production has evolved over time.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. I'm curious, like what factors have driven those shifts?
Well, in the early days, steel mills were located near sources of iron ore, coal, and limestone, the essential raw materials.
Right.
And this kept transportation costs down and made the process more efficient.
Right, but you mentioned that changed over time, right?
Right, as technology advanced, as transportation networks improved, and as demand for steel increased, the industry became more globalized and less tied to those specific resource locations. And so coastal locations became more favored for their proximity to seaports, allowing for the import of raw materials and the export of finished steel to markets worldwide.
So the industry adapted to a changing world.
Exactly. And that evolution continues today, as the steel industry faces new challenges, like the need for sustainable practices and reducing its environmental impact.
Speaking of environmental impact, I'm curious about what steps the steel industry is taking to address those concerns.
Yeah, that's a significant focus for the industry these days. I mean, the steel production can be energy intensive and it can generate emissions.
Right.
But there are ongoing efforts to develop cleaner and more efficient technologies.
So it's like a balancing act, right? Between meeting the global demand for steel while minimizing the environmental impact.
Exactly, yeah. So research is being conducted on reducing reliance on fossil fuels, improving energy efficiency, and exploring alternative materials and production methods. Some companies are even experimenting with capturing and storing carbon emissions to mitigate their impact.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, it's encouraging to hear that the industry is actively working towards a more sustainable future.
Yeah, Absolutely. So now let's delve into those two specific examples that we talked about a little bit earlier that really showcase the impact of the steel industry on a local level. Jamshedpur in India and Pittsburgh in the United
Oh
States.
yeah, yeah. I remember you mentioning those cities. What makes them stand out in the world of steel?
Well, both cities rose to prominence as steel producing hubs, but their stories highlight different aspects of the industry's history and evolution. So Jamshedpur's story is fascinating because it showcases how a single company, Tisco, transformed a small village into this bustling industrial city.
So it's a story of industrialization and its impact on urban development.
Precisely. So Tisco strategically chose Jamshedpur's location because of its proximity to raw materials like iron ore, coal, and manganese, as well as its access to transportation routes and a growing market. And the company's success had this ripple effect, attracting other industries and contributing to Jamshedpur's growth as a diversified industrial center.
So it's like a case study in how a strategically located industry can act as this catalyst for regional economic growth.
Exactly. Now Pittsburgh's story is a bit different. It showcases the evolution of the steel industry from its early reliance on local resources to its integration into global markets.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What factors shaped Pittsburgh's journey as a steel powerhouse?
Well, Pittsburgh benefited from a combination of natural resources, strategic location, and technological advancements. So the city had access to these vast deposits of coal, a key ingredient in steelmaking. Additionally, its location at the confluence of three rivers provided this efficient waterway for transporting coal and other materials.
So it had like the perfect combination of resources and infrastructure to support a thriving steel industry.
Exactly. And as transportation networks improved, Pittsburgh gained access to iron ore from the Great Lakes region. And this further solidified its position as this major steel producing center.
It's fascinating to see how geographic factors played such a crucial role in the city's industrial development.
Yeah, absolutely. And so both Jamshedpur and Pittsburgh demonstrate how the steel industry has left this indelible mark on urban landscapes, shaping not only the physical environment but also the social and economic fabric of these cities.
This has been a really eye-opening exploration of the iron and steel industry. I never realized how much history and innovation and global interconnectedness is woven into every piece of steel that we encounter.
Yeah, it's a testament to human ingenuity and the power of industry to shape our world. And now, are you ready to delve into another fascinating industry? Textiles.
Absolutely. Let's unravel the threads of this global giant and see what insights we can uncover. Okay, textiles. This is an industry that feels so personal, right? I mean, the clothes we wear every day, the fabrics in our homes, like it all comes from this massive global network.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about textiles is its sheer scale and diversity. I mean, from the humble cotton plant to the high fashion runway, this industry touches every corner of the globe.
It's true. I never really thought about the journey a simple cotton T-shirt takes, from the field to the factory to my closet. Can we break down that journey a little
Yeah,
bit?
absolutely. The textile industry, like any other industry, has its unique system with inputs, processes, and outputs. And the inputs are all those raw materials,
Yeah.
natural fibers like cotton, wool, silk, linen, and increasingly, synthetic fibers like
Mm.
polyester and nylon.
So a blend of natural and human-made materials,
Right.
each with their own properties and advantages.
Precisely. And then come the processes which are incredibly diverse and intricate depending on the desired fabric and garment. It starts with harvesting and preparing the raw fibers. So cotton needs to be ginned to separate the fibers from the seeds while wool needs to be sheared and cleaned.
Yeah, it's amazing how much work goes into just getting the raw materials, ready to be used.
Right. And that's just just the beginning. Next comes spinning, where the fibers are twisted together to create yarn, and the yarn is then woven or knitted into fabric using a variety of techniques and machinery.
I'm already picturing those giant looms, weaving those intricate patterns, and the rhythmic click clack of knitting needles creating cozy sweaters.
And those are just two of many processes involved. After the fabric is created, it often undergoes dyeing, printing, and finishing processes to add color and patterns and texture. And finally, the fabric is cut and sewn into the clothes we wear.
Wow. It's mind-boggling to think about all the steps involved, all the skill and the precision that's required at each stage.
And each stage creates its own set of jobs, from the farmers who grow the cotton to the designers who dream up the latest fashions.
It's a global network that provides livelihoods for millions of people.
Exactly. And the final output is not just clothing, but also home furnishings, industrial textiles, and even technical textiles that are used in medicine, aerospace, and other fields.
So textiles are far more than just fashion. They're woven into the fabric of our lives in countless ways.
Yeah, now speaking of fashion, the textile industry is deeply entwined with the world of design and trends.
It's true. Fashion is constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, reflecting cultural shifts. How does the textile industry keep up with these ever-changing demands?
It's a constant challenge and a source of incredible innovation. Textile manufacturers are always researching and developing new materials, new techniques, and new production methods to meet the demands of designers and consumers.
So it's not just about producing fabric. It's about creating materials that are beautiful and functional and perhaps even sustainable.
You hit the nail on the head. Sustainability is becoming a major focus for the textile industry as consumers become more aware of the environmental and social impact of their clothing choices.
Yeah, fast fashion has really brought those
Yeah.
those issues to the forefront. What steps are being taken to address these concerns?
There's a lot happening. Many companies are shifting towards using organic cotton and other sustainable fibers. They're also exploring eco-friendly dyeing and finishing processes that use less water and less energy.
So it's about minimizing the environmental footprint at every stage of the production process.
Exactly. And some companies are even experimenting with closed loop systems where old clothes can be recycled into new fibers, so that reduces waste and reliance on virgin materials.
Oh wow, that's really innovative. It sounds like the textile industry is really starting to take responsibility for its impact.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and there's still a long way to go, but awareness is growing, and consumers are demanding more transparency and accountability from the brands that they support.
Right. Speaking of brands, how has globalization impacted the textile industry? It seems like clothes are made all over the world these days.
Yeah, globalization has had a profound impact on the industry, both positive and negative. On the one hand, it's led to increased efficiency and lower prices for consumers. On the other hand, it's raised concerns about labor practices and environmental regulations in some manufacturing hubs.
So it's a complex issue with economic, with social and ethical dimensions.
Absolutely. And consumers have a role to play by demanding ethical sourcing and fair labor practices from the companies they buy from.
It's a reminder that our choices as consumers, have real world consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we move on to our final industry spotlight, I think it's important to take a moment to acknowledge the cultural significance of textiles.
That's a great point. Textiles are more than just materials. They're expressions of culture and identity and history.
Right. Think about traditional weaving techniques that have been passed down through generations, the intricate patterns and the symbolism that tell stories and connect people to their heritage.
It's amazing how a simple piece of cloth can hold so much meaning and history.
Exactly. And the textile industry, despite its challenges, continues to play this vital role in preserving and evolving these cultural traditions, while also driving innovation and shaping the way we express ourselves through fashion and design.
This has been such a fascinating exploration of the textile industry from its humble beginnings to its global reach. It's amazing how something so seemingly simple as a piece of fabric can connect us to history and culture and economics and even environmental concerns.
Yeah, it truly is a global tapestry woven from threads of innovation and creativity and human connection. And now are you ready to dive into the digital realm of the technology industry?
Absolutely. Let's explore the circuits and algorithms that are shaping our world at this unprecedented pace.
All right, let's do it. So the technology industry, fasten your seatbelts because it's unlike anything we've discussed so far. It's characterized by rapid innovation, global reach, and this constant push to redefine what's possible.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it feels like every day there's a new gadget, a new app, a new breakthrough that's changing the way we live and interact with the world.
Yeah, and that's what makes this industry so fascinating and frankly a little daunting to grasp. But let's break it down. Starting with the core components. What comes to mind when you think of the tech industry?
Well, I mean, obviously there's the physical devices, right?
Yeah.
Like smartphones, laptops. Those smart home assistants that seem to be listening to our every word.
Right, you're describing consumer electronics, which is a major segment of the tech industry. It's the face of technology for most people. The gadgets we use daily for communication, for entertainment, and increasingly for managing our lives. But behind those sleek devices lies a whole other world of technology.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What else is there besides the gadgets that we see and touch?
Well, think about the infrastructure that makes all those devices work.
Okay.
So telecommunications networks, data centers, the internet itself, these are the invisible threads that connect our digital world.
Right. It's like a hidden nervous system transmitting information at lightning speed across the globe.
Exactly. And then there's the software,
Got
the operating systems, the applications, and the algorithms that power those devices and networks. And that makes them intelligent and responsive.
So it's a combination of hardware and software, right? The physical and the virtual working together to create this immersive digital experience.
Precisely. And don't forget about the companies that create and maintain this complex ecosystem from tech giants like Apple and Google to smaller startups that are pushing the boundaries of innovation. The technology industry is this dynamic mix of players, each contributing to its evolution.
It's a bit overwhelming to think about all the moving parts. The constant innovation, the global scale of this industry.
Yeah, it's true. The pace of change can be dizzying, but that's also what makes it so exciting. The technology industry is constantly challenging assumptions, redefining possibilities, and shaping the future in ways we can only begin to imagine.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about the gadgets and the software. It's about the potential to solve problems, to connect people, to create a better world.
Yeah, and that's where things get really, really interesting. The technology industry isn't just about creating cool gadgets. It's about applying technology to address some of the world's most pressing challenges.
Okay, give me some examples. Like how is technology being used to make a positive impact?
Well, in healthcare, for instance, technology is revolutionizing the way we diagnose and treat diseases from AI-powered diagnostic tools to robotic surgery to personalized medicine. Technology is extending lifespans and improving quality of life.
That's incredible. It sounds like science fiction is becoming reality.
Oh, yeah, and education technology is providing access to learning opportunities for people all over the world. Online courses, educational apps, and virtual reality experiences are breaking down barriers and democratizing knowledge.
It's empowering people to learn and grow regardless of their location or their circumstances.
Exactly. And in sustainability, technology is being used to develop clean energy solutions, reduce waste, and protect our environment, from solar panels and wind turbines to smart grids and precision agriculture. Technology is helping us create a more sustainable future.
So the technology industry isn't just about innovation for innovation's sake. It's about using technology to solve real world problems and to make a positive impact on society.
Exactly. But of course, with any powerful tool, there are potential downsides. We need to be mindful of the ethical implications of technology and ensure that it's used responsibly and equitably.
That's a great point. I mean, we've seen how technology can be used for both good and bad. So it's important to have these conversations and consider the potential consequences.
Absolutely. Issues like data privacy, artificial intelligence bias, and the potential for job displacement, all need to be addressed proactively and thoughtfully.
Right. It's a reminder that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for different purposes. It's up to us to shape the future of technology and ensure that it benefits humanity as a whole.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge we all need to engage in, not just those working directly in the technology industry. As consumers, as citizens, and as global citizens, we all have a stake in shaping the digital future.
This deep dive into the technology industry has been both fascinating and thought-provoking. It's amazing how much this one industry is shaping our world and influencing every aspect of our lives.
Yeah, it's an industry that will continue to evolve and to surprise us. The key is to stay curious, to stay informed, and to engage in conversations about the responsible use of technology.
That's excellent advice. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of industries, what are some key takeaways that our listeners should remember?
Well, I hope they've gained a deeper appreciation for the complexity, the diversity, and the impact of industries. We've seen how industries shape our lives, how they drive our economies, and how they influence our environment.
We've also learned that industries are constantly evolving, adapting to new technologies, to global trends, and to the growing demand for sustainable practices.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, I hope our listeners feel empowered to engage with industries in a more informed and conscious way, as consumers, as citizens, and as individuals seeking fulfilling careers.
It's about understanding the systems that shape our world and making choices that align with our values.
Precisely. So stay curious, keep exploring, and remember that the world of industries is full of fascinating stories and insights waiting to be discovered.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of industries. We hope you've enjoyed the journey.